if a woman comes to me and says, I'm ready, I feel ready for a style change, the first thing you should not do is to go shopping. The first thing you do is start to dig into what's holding me back, and also, who is this woman I'm becoming? Who is she? What is she wearing? What's she doing? And that could be different from the past version of yourself, and that's okay.
Welcome back to the Unperfected Pod. I'm Brooke Jean, your host, and I am so happy and grateful that you are here. Before we get into this week's interview, which was extraordinary, I can't wait for you to hear it, I want to give you a little update. In case you guys have not heard, Social Goats is now VidMe. And what is VidMe, you ask? VidMe is the next YouTube. It is the next social media platform where you can, as a creator, come and bring your magic to a brand new community. It's a membership-based social platform. It's going to be like a TikTok meets a masterclass or a Mind Valley meets a Patreon. And it is for content creators. It is for people that love personal development, and everybody gets to win on the platform. Whether you're a creator or the community of the creator, we all make money by sharing the platform and bringing people to the content. I'm making exclusive content for VidMe. We're talking masterclasses on confidence. I'm going to be doing a, what's it called? Membership. So if you've been wanting to get in our world and you are like, Brooke, I want coaching from you. I want to be in a weekly circle with you. I want to, talk. I want to bring things. I'm literally going to be hosting a weekly membership group on VidMe, and that will only cost $35 a month. So for $35 a month, you join the platform, you get all of my content and every other creator's content, and you get the membership with me. That is a win, 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 win. I'm going to be showing up every week in live coaching on things like mental health, empathy, emotional intelligence, confidence, perfectionism, energy, leadership, all the things. And I'm going to bring special guests to come and live coach you as well. So if you've been wanting to work with me, if you've been wanting to get in our world, join VidMe for free today. The links are below. Also, you can make money by bringing others to VidMe. If you want to know more, make sure you guys reach out to me on Instagram. I'm actually having information calls with my team and other people. I would be happy to answer any questions that you have, but it's free to join right now. Once the lights turn on, it's $35 a month. If you share the platform, let's say you share it with 10 people who share it with 10 people, you're making an extra $2,754 a month. Y'all, this is a no-brainer for a way that we can all get on a new platform. We can bring gorgeous content that helps enrich the lives of humanity, and particularly women. You know who my people are. You're one of them. And a way for us to just grow community, share good information, and grow passive income. This is an extraordinary time to be alive. If you could get in on YouTube from the beginning, would have you? Yes, you would have. So what are you doing? Click the link, use my affiliate link. Let's go. All sorts of special content there. I'm just actually so excited about VidMe. Anyways, let's get into today's episode. You guys, I loved this conversation. So first, let me tell you a little bit about Ellie. Ellie Steinbrink is a personal branding expert and stylist for female entrepreneurs. Drawing on psychology and branding, Ellie helps women define and embody a magnetic personal style that encourages them to take bold action, or, as she likes to say, color outside of the lines. The daughter of a farmer and an artist, Ellie blends a 2-decade-long career in marketing for Fortune 500 giants and small businesses with her passion for curating wardrobes that break style rules and reject trends. When she isn't shopping, you can find her lifting at a CrossFit class, playing trumpet, trying out a new recipe, or spending time with her husband and 2 kids in Omaha, Nebraska. Okay, you guys, I absolutely loved this conversation with Ellie because the depth of her work is just chef's kiss. We talk about leveraging style and dress as a way to express yourself, as a way to feel good, not perform or please or appease. We talk about how we find our own style and express our own style. We talk about some of the limiting beliefs and fears that women face when they're finding their style and playing with their new identity. All these things and so much more. Ellie is such a treat. I love that she turned her childhood passion into a beautiful business where she gets to help women like me and you feel our best so we can be our best. And so enjoy. Hey babe, I'm Brooke Jean, licensed therapist, coach, mama, and your straight talking guide to ditching the pressure and living a life unperfected. I've coached some of the top C-suite women in America, women leading billion-dollar companies while secretly falling apart. I've been her. I blend psychology, neuroscience, and energetics with lived experience to help high-achieving women actually heal so that they can access their infinite energy, creativity, and vitality. If you're a perfection-obsessed woman who's checked every damn box, career, family, house, 401k, but still feels low-key dead inside, you're in the right place. Here, we rip off the good girl mask, call out the BS, and build a life that actually feels like yours. We talk healing, we talk revealing, we talk rising, and we do it raw, real, and unfiltered. This is the Unperfected Pod. Welcome back to the Unperfected Pod, everybody, where we normalize normal and find freedom in a life unperfected. I am so excited to have this style conversation with my girl, Ellie. Ellie, thank you for coming to the show. I'm so glad we found each other.
I know, same. And as we were just discussing before we hit record, I think we're in a lot of alignment about how you're approaching your values and how I approach my business when it comes to style. So I can't wait to jump right in.
Oh, I know. I can feel that too. So for the listeners, what we were discussing is how for me and my style, sometimes I want to be really dressed up and fabulous and bougie and just like, I like nice things. And other times I, haven't showered in 3 days and I am wearing like sweatpants with stains on them. And I'm like, how do we rectify like being passionate some days and not others, and like embodying authenticity, but also like standing for greatness and having a good vibe? So we're going to get into all the things, but let's start with, so it sounds like you were a marketer and then you stepped into being a style expert, a branding coach, a speaker. Tell us a little bit about the work that you do in the world and how you came into it, because that's always a juicy story.
Yeah. It is an unexpected story for sure, Brooke, because as you said, I spent 20 years of my career in marketing and branding, and I have loved fashion and style my whole life. And it was a thing that ever since the time I was a little girl, it was just a part of me. And as I got to be older, I would have friends, coworkers be asking me about, oh, can you come shop with me? Can you help me with my style? But funny enough, it was something that I really just put off to the side and said, that's not really a real thing we can do anything with right now. That's not a real job. At least I didn't know it. I didn't have any examples around me at that time. So I went on to pursue a career in marketing. And, I think over the years, I got to the top levels of that career. It was what I thought I wanted. I was at a director of client services at an ad agency, and that was like the pinnacle for me, at least I thought. And I got there and I was completely burned out for a myriad of reasons. Honestly, I mean, I had just had my second child. I have 2 children. But I think more so is I was starting to learn that this was not the ultimate roadmap for me. It was part of my story. But I was starting to feel a lot of shame and guilt about, wow, I got to the top. I got to what I thought I wanted. And here I am completely unfulfilled, burned out, not feeling alive in any sense of the word. And that's even just beyond exhaustion of being a mom of 2 little babies. It was something deeper. And I made some moves and shifts, but it wasn't until 2019. And I had a little bit of a woo-woo experience. I had just learned how to do a meditation, a specific form of meditation called transcendental meditation. And I had been doing it for a while. And while I was doing this, I had come across a bout of insomnia. And so I was using meditation as a form of rest because I was so exhausted. And I
Wow.
remember this one particular time I sat down to do my 20-minute meditation. And when I opened my eyes, it was as if I've never had this happen to me, but it was as if a message had been sent to me that, that nudge that said you need to do something with this styling that you have a passion for. And so that day I
Oh,
posted
that's so
something. I yeah, I was like, if something's going to come to me that clearly, I am going to pay attention. And that day I posted something on Instagram and I said to myself, I'm just going to do this. And it was a very aggressive goal, I realize now at the time, but I said, I'm going to do this every day. And I'm just going to keep following this nudge of excitement. And I'm going to stop if it doesn't seem exciting anymore, or if it feels like it's a lot of work, or it just doesn't, light me up anymore. And long story short, I never stopped. About a year later, I ended up losing my job because of the pandemic. And it was just in that time, I had been starting to work with clients kind of off to the side. It was the universe's nudge to me for sure to say, Ellie, it's time. And I know you're not going to probably do it yourself because maybe you don't trust that you can do it yet. But, the universe knew,
Mm,
the higher power knew that it was time. And so that was 5 years ago.
yeah.
And here I am. And really, the core of what I do, what I love to do, is working with entrepreneurial women to help them really align the insides with the outsides. And this is where I think our work aligns so well, Brooke, is
Mm,
it's about authenticity for me. We've been told so many rules about what to wear, how to show up as a woman in her 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, as a woman who is a mom, who's not a mom, all of these different
mm,
roles we play.
mhm,
And it's exhausting. And it's my belief that the exhaustion and the frustration we have in our closets, it's less about what's in our closet, but about all of these expectations that surround us about how we're supposed to show up. And so my work is less about telling women what to wear, although, when I work one to one, I will help women shop and we, style the outfits. But there's a whole section at the beginning of our time together that is building a foundation of trust
mm,
and inner clarity about what do I even like? Because we've
mm,
been told so many years about what to like. What
mm,
do I even like?
mm. Oh, that's huge. Okay, so first of all, I love your story. I know so many women are resonating with it. Like we all did the 20, I did 10 years in the corporate gig running Target stores and doing like HR and leadership development until same as you, the universe kicked me in the tits and said, "Go ahead, honey. Let's do what we want to do." And that opened up, and also it aligns with a like spiritual awakening slash healing journey similar to
Hmm.
you. So before we get
Always.
more into the style, I do want to double click on, you said something really important about the burnout that you were in because you were basically, let's face it, like living somebody else's dream because you were
Hmm.
killing it, right? You're
Yeah.
at the top. Like this is literally, you're like the women I work with. We have done everything that on paper promised us a happy, successful, fulfilled life. And yet we are like in our closets drowning in wine crying and like what is wrong with me, like why am I not grateful? And it's like because you're not living authentically. So let's talk a little bit about that and then how you carried some of that truth that you discovered about yourself into the
Yeah.
creation of this beautiful business that you have now.
Yeah. Well, Brooke, I'm just going to be completely honest that at that point when I was feeling the ultimate burnout, when I was the director of client services and I was in the role that everyone said I would be great for, that I thought I would be great for, I just, there was a 5 year difference there between
Mm,
me feeling the feeling. And I'm not saying this is going to be the experience for everyone, but for me, I also want to paint a very realistic picture that sometimes it takes a while for us to catch up and be able to be ready to grab hold of that thing we're feeling, right? There's a courage and bravery that comes along with it. But at the time I started to feel that, it was like it was scary because your whole life you're preparing for this. You're only studying one industry. You're trying to get as to the expert level, and you realize you feel like you're starting over from scratch, and it's a scary feeling because one, you don't necessarily want to admit I'm feeling this way because you've been dreaming about your whole life, or at least I thought, that was the dream.
Mm,
And two, it's like, what do I do now?
mm.
And I remember I was fortunate enough to be working with a coach at that time that was actually hired by my agency, at the agency I was employed at the time, where I was feeling incredible burnout. I had this wonderful access to a life coach who started to really get me to answer some honest questions about what is it. And I remember talking about styling at that time, but also was thinking, I have no idea what to do with that idea right now. And the next step I took, honestly, was to take a different job. That this was a job working in an ad agency, as it just happens to be an environment that is very stressful. I mean, a lot of working
Intense.
hours, a lot of demands from your clients. And the first step I took was I decided to take a part-time, now 30 hours a week role, at another company where it ended up being a small family-run company where I was the director of marketing. So I didn't actually change industries right away. But what I did for myself is I created some space, because I had been working like 50 or so hour weeks while having two little kids, while being married to a pilot who, feels like being a
It's
single
on.
mom.
Yeah.
And I created space for myself to think, and just to kind of, I mean, there was days where I was like, I feel a little bored some days because I had so much more time on my hands. And it's hard to even say that with two little kids,
Oh,
but
I
I
know,
think
but we
you
know
know what
what
I
you
mean, where
mean.
it's like you go to where you're just, I was holding so many balls in the air, and I thought I was holding them all, and I wasn't really. But so I worked in this job as director of marketing, and it was an incredible valuable part of my journey, I realize now, because what I was learning was ultimately building me up to become a business owner and an entrepreneur. I was learning how to create content. I was working with a woman who was a speaker and an author. So I speak now. I was learning she was an incredible example for how to be a speaker, how to run a speaking business. I was learning so many things and gaining so many skills, and I didn't know that, but I was getting some time and space to just get a little more clear-headed. And then I think learning transcendental meditation was something,
Mm.
again, my employer at the time, she was very much into meditation and wanted to share this gift with all of her employees, this small company I was in. And that I didn't realize was a gift as well. And that was a way for me to quiet myself. Normally, I'm a very busy body, let's just keep going to the
Mm.
next thing kind of person. Um, and that was a gift unto itself too. And like I said, it wasn't until it would have been 4 years later since the time I left the company where I was feeling really burnt out, when I had that moment in meditation. And then another year later where I was fully ready to jump off the cliff and go. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, it took a lot of self-trust. And I think those 5 years probably were more so in me learning the skills of going inward, looking, what is it that I really want? Because I remember when I was at the point of burnout, someone would ask me, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know, be a barista at Starbucks. I just wanted so badly just to have a break that I
Yeah.
couldn't even think about what the next big, wonderful thing was. I just wanted to do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. A break from what? The responsibility, right?
Right. Just too
Yeah.
much. It was just too much for me to hold at that point. And then, having a job that was so demanding that I also didn't enjoy was probably the most draining, because you're putting so much time and effort into that aspect of your life and you're not even feeling that passionate about it. So,
Exactly. It's draining. It's an absolute draining. Like, that's how you get to burnout, right? It's not even always like how much you're doing, it's what you're doing. And so if you're feeling burnt out, that is a really good indicator that it's time to go inward. And I love that you highlighted that part of your story. Like, first of all, it wasn't just a jump from A to B. There was a bridge job. There was a 5 year period. And that's often what it looks like. And I think that's what a lot of times keeps people stuck where they are, because they're like, oh my God, how am I going to figure it out? And it's like, well, literally one foot in front of the other, y'all. There isn't a perfect roadmap, but you had the courage to leave the thing that was literally burning you out and making you sick. You went inward. You asked yourself some beautiful existential questions. And I think this is important for the listener. Like, what actually lights me up? Like, I've always loved style. It doesn't matter that it doesn't make sense in my brain of how to monetize that or what job correlates. I've always loved style. Like, follow your bliss. Give yourself that permission to at least explore. But you do need spaciousness and some tools, usually mindfulness ones, that allow you to ask those deep existential questions and allow your truth to bubble up. And then you're absolutely right. It takes a lot of courage to then act on the truth. A lot of times we'll know the truth, but we have to like pretend like we don't know the truth, because to take action is brutal.
It is brutal. Although I will say, the day I got let go from my job and I came home and was telling my husband what had just happened, it was a horrible and a wonderful moment all at the same time, because it was as if there was no other answer for me. I knew that starting a business in styling would probably be the hardest thing I would ever do, and it scared me beyond belief. I've never run my own business before. I've watched other people do it. I have two parents who, a farmer and an artist, and they've run their whole businesses their whole lives. I've never done it. And at the same time, it was quite possibly the most exciting thing I could consider at that moment. And that's how I knew I had to just follow my intuition. And here's the other thing is, I was starting this business and it felt like I was starting all over. I mean, even when I talk with other stylists in the industry, they've been to FIT, they've worked in retail, they've had all this experience. And I kept thinking, why is this passion been put in me? And it seems like when I look, like I have nothing, I kept thinking, I have nothing to like back up this experience. But in reality, I had been in client service, guiding clients on their personal brands and their company brands for 20 years. I had been in client service learning how to work with clients. There had been so many skills that I gained in those 20 years. So in reality, I was not a beginner. And I think that's the other thing where it's, yes, if you look at the facts, even if it feels like you're starting over, there's always pieces there that have grown you to be ready into whatever that next step is. And then it's also the trust that whatever is in you, experience or not, is in there and you can't deny it.
Yes.
And you don't know until you just go try. And so, yeah, I mean, it is an incredible leap of faith, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say it was easy. And even within the 5 years of running this business, you got to like navigate
An
and squirm
entrepreneur.
around and change things and just be willing to throw things out and start over. But it has also been the best thing I've ever done. So.
Oh, I love that. You're absolutely right though. I was literally just having the same conversation with my client before this about around transferable skills. She just got let go after being with a big conglomerate for 20 years, and it's trying to hit her confidence. I'm like, excuse me, queen. Let's list right now the experience you got working in corporate as it relates to processes, systems, people, conflict, communication, presentation skills, creativity. Like, I could think of 1,000. I honestly think people who were corporate badasses before make some of the best entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
Because if we can survive in that, you know what I'm saying? But the hard thing is we come here and there's no process for anything and it's all on us to create it. And I'm like, isn't there a form for that somewhere? Nope, I get to create it. Sweet.
No.
And it's a lot.
So true.
It's a lot.
But you also have an incredible network of connections that can also help you with those things.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. Some of my favorite people in my world I met at Target, including my husband. Shout out. So tell me what it is that you love about style. Like, what is the deep reason that you care about this and what it can do for me, for you, for us as women?
Yeah. Here's what it comes down to is, I think for so many years, style has been portrayed as something that is somewhat frivolous and definitely self-indulgent, and sometimes meant to be a status symbol. And something I have known very intuitively and deeply since I was a little girl is that what you put on your body changes how you show up and changes how you feel. And so what I know to be true is that style is not just something to adorn our bodies with. It is a powerful tool that we can use to show up differently in this world and create a really magnetic presence for ourselves. It's a tool. And yes, it's one that I'm wanting to cultivate in women, one that is a very authentic expression of themselves. It's not just for show. It's not just to put on a costume and a dress for success sort of rule. It's coming from the inside out. But what I think a lot of people don't realize is there's brain science behind, I call it the closet effect. When you walk into your closet and let's say you have a not so great experience in your closet, we've all had them, either the pants don't fit or nothing's clean or you got a toddler around your ankle or whatever, you got 2 minutes to get dressed and no options. All of us have had those bad days in our closets. And what happens as a result? If you take a moment to pause and think about those bad days in your closet, those aren't the greatest starters for the rest of your day. And, you think about how do you act then? You kind of hide. You might turn your Zoom camera off. You might reject a lunch to go with someone. You might not. You might do the kind of, the easy to do tasks on your list. You're not going for like the big pitch or you're not making the big ask that you should ask. You're playing small. And then your results are impacted as a result. Now, if you flip that and you think about a day where you did have a great outfit to put on and you're just feeling it, it's a good color, feels good on your body, something about it makes you just feel alive. That kind of a day, what a difference. And I think we've all felt that from time to time. It might not be happening every day, but that's why I call it the closet effect. We think that making the decision about what to wear is such an insignificant decision. Honestly, think about all the decisions we're making. There's 35,000 decisions made in a day for any one person. Surely what to wear cannot be that important. But when you think about it in this way, how it can really transform your energy and transform what you choose to do or not do, how you choose to show up or not show up, it can make an incredible difference. So that is one of the reasons why style is so important to me, because I know it changes us. And for women like you and I, and many of those listening who are really ambitious and have big goals to conquer, to me, what that requires is having more good days in your closet that are going to then help you show up and be the best version of yourself, or help you step into that next level version of yourself that maybe you're a little bit afraid to step into, but is in there.
Yes. Oh my God, there's so much truth to this. Like what was coming through my mind as you were speaking is a couple examples just to like support your statement. It's like, if I'm going to go and have like a big lunch with someone I'm going to pitch my business services to, or I'm going to do a speaking gig, or I'm going to, I've recently been creating content in a professional studio with a coach. And so it feels like a big deal, right? Because there's a lot of preparation that goes into these things. I'm like, what am I wearing on those days? I'm wearing the best effing thing in my closet. The best. I'm pulling out the best thing. The second thing is this last weekend, normally on the weekends, I get my groceries delivered because going to the store, it's like, I'm really trying to be precious with my energy over here. It's like, what gives me energy? What can I be using? Well, I had gotten dressed up. I had a new dress. I had brunch with my high school friends. I had done my hair. I was looking good. And so would you not believe that I chose to go to the effing store? I must have done everything a working mom can do in 6 hours that day, including the joy stuff. Everything. And I'm like, why was that? Because I felt good, because I knew I looked good, girl. I'm going to admit that.
It changes you. It changes your energy. Yeah. And, I understand there's going to be days where we just don't feel it. That's real life. It's not like we're going to be on our game every single day, but I'd rather have more of those days in my closet where I know that what I put on can change what I get done in a day, how I interact with my family and kids, how I interact, for my business, how I show up for my business, how I show up at a networking event. I mean, I'm someone who's highly introverted. And the thought of going to networking events sometimes or experiences where I know it's important for me to be there, be seen. So having the right outfit really propels me into the right energy to show up when I need to and make big moves when I need to. So here's the other aspect of this, Brooke, that I think we haven't dug into a lot yet. And that is showing up and bringing the right energy. Everyone always says to me, Ellie, I want this effortless style. I want this like personal style that just feels, so effortless and easy. And here's the secret that no one is going to talk about. The effortless style really comes down to being an authentic style. It's about styling from the inside out. And so an example of this would be, there's many women who have come from corporate, okay? And in a corporate environment, depending on which industry you came from, the expected dress code was, wear black. A black suit is probably, or anything black is probably the most professional thing you can wear, right? And so we get in this rut of like, we wear neutrals, we wear black, it's just what we do. And then potentially when we move on to another career or when we're starting our own business, we sort of still have this belief and rule in our head that the most professional way to show up is to wear all black, be very serious. I want my clients to take me seriously. I want them to think I'm credible. We create all these stories about what defines success, what defines credibility, what defines, being taken seriously. When in reality, maybe that's not how they love to dress. And many of my clients will share this with me who have left from corporate and started their own business. They're a little bit afraid to let themselves shine. Like they might say, I love color, or I love wearing prints, or I love wearing florals. But man, when I was back in the banking industry, there was no way that was going to be accepted. And there was just a code. So part of showing up authentically is allowing yourself to break free from all of these rules and expectations we've been given about what it means to be professional, what it means to be a woman, at whatever ages we are. And that is where you're going to feel a shift, not only internally. So what we just talked about, that energy shift, when you put something on that feels really great to you.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in good energy, people can feel that too. As opposed to you putting on something that you think you should wear because it's going to create success or create a great outcome for you. Really, and it's scary to show up in a very authentic way, even in our dress. But when you can allow yourself to show up in that way, things start to shift. Like you attract the right people to your business, the right client, or the right partnerships, the right opportunities. And it's scary, but it's also the best bang for your buck you can do is just to let people see you.
Mm. Oh my God, that's so good. So it's like style is really an expression from the inside out, and we should style ourselves to feel good. And that's going to emit this gorgeous frequency versus styling ourselves for the circumstances, which is what we as women have been conditioned to do. It's like dress the part. You dress up here, don't dress up, and I love that you pointed to some of the like limiting beliefs or blocks that get in our way of being fully expressed in our style. Because for me, even currently, when I am getting all dressed up and all done up and I got my weave in and everything, I still have a little voice inside that's like, people might think I'm trying too hard and people might think I'm actually trying to be perfect. And it's like, no, there's a difference between trying to be perfect and feeling fucking good and being down for that and being good with that. If the weave makes me feel better about my perimenopausal hair loss, then back up, queen. Or you know what I mean? But it's about feeling good, and it doesn't matter what things make you feel good. Everybody gets to have their own whatever. But wear what makes you come alive, wear what feels good, wear what feels sexy, wear what feels comfy, whatever. And that's going to be your style. And the question that I want to follow that up with is, what tips or suggestions can you give the listener to start to begin to explore what that is for them?
Yes.
What does feel good on me? Like, how can I dress myself in a way that's in alignment with my core expression of who I am?
Yeah. Let's start with a real easy one. And you're going to think, gosh, that seems like a very simple tip. When you go into your closet and you put various different pieces of clothing on, I want you to just start to pay attention. How do I feel in this piece, in this garment, in this outfit? And the reason I give that advice of just simply noticing is because we live in a world where really style and clothes have become so easily accessible to us. And as easy as we can get a piece of clothing, we can just as easily discard it. And as a result, clothes and our style has become very transactional. Like we can get it, we can throw it out just whenever we feel like it. And I think what's been lost in the process is that there is no connection between our clothes and what even makes us feel good. And then on top of that, we've got we're outsourcing our opinions to other. And this comes in. Let me give you a great example, Brooke. I find that when women need to get dressed for a big event, okay, whether it's they're speaking on stage or they've got a reunion to go to or they've got a very big meeting or they're going to be on camera, filming some content, the most common thing I see them doing is sending out a vote, putting out a poll on Instagram. And if you've done this, please know that I'm not shaming you that you've done this. We've all done this. I've done this in years past. When we ask someone, which outfit, 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be the best, help me pick an outfit. Well, there could be some helpful pieces there of people like, oh, that color is great on you or that shape works on your body. What I find is women almost always know which of those 4 outfits that they feel the best in, if they're really honest, and it may not align with what everybody else picked. And that's just one example of how we continue to outsource what feels good to us. And so going back to that question, when you put clothes on, how does it make me feel? Tune into that and be honest. And this is also a tip for if you're looking to start to kind of clean out pieces out of your closet. I call it a closet detox. Is just to get real honest, because I know you guys all have pieces in your wardrobe right now that when you put it on, it just doesn't feel right. Maybe the color doesn't feel good, or but you feel like you should have it in your closet for this, that, or the other reason. Like, someone gave it to you, and so you would feel guilty about letting it go, or you paid good money for it, so I couldn't imagine letting it go. There's so much emotion in our closets, but if we can just get honest and say, you know what? I never really liked that color, and every time I put it on, I don't feel good. So why does it continue to sit here in my closet and haunt me? And that is one way to just start to be honest with yourself about what you like and honest about what just is maybe time to go. And that includes clothing that no longer fits you. And this is probably one of the hardest topics to address because it is so emotional. And I know there are many women out there that are holding on to things because they can't wait to they want to get back to a certain size, whatever that may be for them. And I don't think that's a motivator in our closet. I think that that is something that haunts us, that really shouts at us and says, hey, you're not good enough to be stylish right now. You don't deserve to have all this until you get to a certain size. And that's really holding us back. And so if you're sitting there thinking, oh gosh, I have things like this in my closet and it doesn't feel that great looking at that size hanging in my closet and I can't fit into it right now. What I would say is if, you're hell bent on getting into that size, at least just put it out of sight, out of mind. Put it in a tote, store it away for now. But it's important that you have clothes in your closet right now that make you feel great, that suit your body. And trust me, I work with women of all different sizes. And it's a matter of just learning how to work with your body and finding the right shapes. And that's regardless of size, of height, of all of it. You can feel good at whatever size you are. And so letting some of that go will really change how you feel in your clothes.
That's a big one. That's a big one. Like, why are we holding on to the jeans from college? It's like, y'all, we're not supposed to be that size. We're grown ass adults now. We've had children. Like, it's ew. And then also, like, hot tip, stop wearing things that you have to suck in for. The one thing I'm like, I used to wear, cause like I have like an apple shape, like God bless me with an apple shape. That's really cool. So it's like everything would like suck in and pinch off my gut. And I'm like, I just got to a point in my life where I was like, this is unacceptable. I cannot be the queen that I am when my gut is like cutting off circulation. Like it's making me angry subconsciously.
Yes.
And so you start buying things that actually fit you, that you can breathe in, that you can move in, that accentuate different parts of your body. So it's not about having the perfect body or the perfect style. It's about working with what you got and what makes you feel good. But we hang on to pieces for all sorts of different psychological reasons. I mean, I hung on to my red and khaki after leaving Target for 3 years. And those were not even clothes I enjoyed wearing. It was identity and grief. And so I do think I think there's something to women not wanting to donate their smaller clothing because A, our perfectionist wants us to be a perfect body, and B,
Mhm.
we are grieving our younger versions of ourselves, and maybe even the version of ourselves that didn't love our body back when we had the perfect body.
Yes, there's a lot there to unpack, Brooke. But the thing I'll say is when women come to me, there's not a single one that doesn't nitpick this, that, or the other thing about their body.
Mm,
So let's just normalize and this is including women that may socially we look at and say, oh, that's perfect, but there really is no such thing as a perfect body. And when we're
that's
working through understanding how to dress your body, it's just like looking at data and facts. We get measurements, and I kind of liken it to because my mom was an artist. It's about learning how to create proportion and balance on your body. So, whatever your measurements happen to be, there's a way to create proportion and balance in your body. And it takes the emotion out of it of like, oh, you're this shape or that shape or the other. And mind you, the perfect body of a woman has changed every single decade. So to think that we can all have the perfect body, that would
Mhm.
mean that our body would have to change dramatically. Twiggy in the 60s and 70s, and then you've got like the curvier Kim Kardashians of more recent years. We've had everything in between, so there really is no such thing as the perfect body because culturally it shifts and changes as to what is idealized. But going back to when women come to me, there's always something that they're kind of hype, they're focused on, and like, I don't love this about myself, but I would really like to just not be able to see it all the time. And
Mhm.
when I can teach them how to find the right garments that naturally complement what they have, it's as if they're looking at their body in a whole new way in the mirror. No longer are they nitpicking this or that or the other. They can see it in a different way. That is such a special thing for me to see because, I've personally struggled. We've all struggled for various reasons at different times in our lives. And to give that gift to a woman to help see themselves in a new light is so awesome.
Yeah. And you probably also have like something about your energy or your skills and abilities that makes women feel comfortable exploring these things because it's so vulnerable. And
Yes.
also, it's like could be life changing. So I would love to hear whether it's your own experience or maybe some of your
Mhm.
favorite clients, like what has them putting this beautiful intention behind their authentic style done for them in terms of their confidence, how they feel about themselves, how they show up in the world.
Yeah. I definitely have my own things that I've struggled with. And what I would say, one of the exercise, I'll share an exercise that I do with my clients that I think that'll really highlight this in a great way.
Cool.
As I said, many of us are strapped about rules and beliefs about how we should show up, and it really does it does dictate how we make decisions. So, let's give an example. Let's say, what is a belief that you have about your style or about your body? And that might be, I was once told as, a child that I was a chubby kid. And maybe I'm not now, but for some reason that story has stuck with me. And so this story really, this belief that we have sticks with us, and it changes how we show up, how we shop. If we have this belief, even if our body changes, or if we learn how to work with our body in a way that, that gets around to this fact, we sort of self-sabotage in that way where, we believe, well, I can't be stylish because I'm not this size, or I can't have the outfit that I want, or I'm following this person on Instagram and I can't wear what she wears. She looks so cute, but I would never look cute in this. And so we self-sabotage in that way.
Yep.
So one of the things we do is in the work with I do with my clients is we identify all those rules and beliefs. And this can be everything from something about your body to, like the example I gave earlier about it. I believe that the most professional way to show up is to wear all black.
Hmm.
And it's kind of like this, that, and the other. And most women have many examples that they come up with, whether we've been told culturally these rules, or maybe someone in our family was like, the women in our family, we don't wear this. We wear this. This is how we dress. There's just rules from every place in our life. And we
Yes.
just pick one that feels like it's still commanding our decisions, and we
Mm.
work through it. And we say, what is that belief? And when I think about not believing that belief, what fears come up for me? What feels scary about turning away from that belief? And eventually, at the end of that work, we rewrite a new belief because the beliefs we have are really rooted in other people's expectations. They're
Judgment.
rooted in maybe not even in truths anymore.
Mhm.
And, we rewrite that to say, what is it? What's something I can rewrite and say to myself a mantra over and over that will help me show up in my most authentic, glorious, shining self? Something that, I always like to think when, brain, there's ruts in our brain. And all our life we've been saying this one belief, it's professional if you wear black. I was a chubby kid and I'll always be a chubby kid and, no longer stylish. Those ruts get very deep in the grooves of your brain. So we need to start rewriting a different story. And you wouldn't believe how powerful this piece of the work is in the styling process. For example, if I were to skip this part of the process and just go right to the shopping, what happens is we're still carrying around those old beliefs into the store with us, maybe not willing to try things on, maybe not willing to take a risk, not willing to try different silhouettes or different colors, because these beliefs are so rooted that they continue to propel and inform all the decisions we make.
Mhm.
So we got to first get aware of what are those beliefs that are driving all of our behaviors if we want to make a real style change. So I'll say, if a woman comes to me and says, I'm ready, I feel ready for a style change, the first thing you should not do is to go shopping. The first thing you do is start to dig into what's holding me back, and also, who is this woman I'm becoming? Who is
Mhm.
she? What is she wearing? What's she doing? And that
Mhm.
could be different from the past version of yourself, and that's okay.
Mm. That is so good. That's it, right? That's it. Like, there's so many stories we have that are popping up. Like, nothing fits me. It's slutty to wear something that shows any skin. It's
Uh-huh.
unprofessional. You're asking for too much. You're trying too hard. Like, it all boils down to fear of judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love that process that you guide your clients through of just like, what are the stories I'm telling myself that have gotten baked into my biology that are now driving these limiting decisions that are no longer in alignment with the queen I am becoming, the woman
Yeah.
I am stepping into. Like, and it is okay for us to change our minds on what we want our style to be. It is okay for us to change our identities and upgrade those. In fact, we should be. It's okay for us to want to look and feel good. I mean, there's still
Mm-hmm.
so many women that I had to completely reprogram the belief that I deserve to feel good. So many
Mm.
of us are punishing ourselves
Yeah.
subconsciously,
Mm-hmm.
and we might even be
Yes.
punishing ourselves with our style.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's like,
Self-sabotage.
that's it. It's like we deserve to feel good.
Yes. Yes.
Because we were
100%.
born, we deserve to feel good, and your clothing, your style get to be in alignment with that, whatever that looks
Yep.
like for you. So I love
Yep.
that you do that deeper work, because otherwise we're just going to end up in the same trap where we're
Yeah.
styling to appease and please and for the external event versus what actually brings us to life.
Yeah. And I think that's where the alignment conversation comes in, with the alignment between internal and external style. And many women, we've been on this journey of self-exploration and getting more in tune with who we are. And I find it happens, especially, I'm in my mid 40s. I find, for some
Same.
reason, it really is a common thing to happen to women at this point in our lives, because, even if you felt in your 20s like you knew your style and you knew who you were, you know, life happens, all the things, career changes, marriages, babies, divorces, all the things. And there's that yearning to kind of rediscover who's in there. And so that's why I say, if you're already in that process of rediscovering, this is a great piece to add on to that personal evolution, because it's not just about rediscovering who you are on the inside, but letting people see that on the outside too. That's where you're going to feel that alignment of energy that no one can deny.
Mm. Yeah, it's like an existential awakening that we're going through in our mid 40s.
Throw away all the rules,
It
find
feels
our
like a
own path.
midlife crisis, but honey, it is an existential awakening where we are doing. Have you seen that trend on TikTok, the I don't care club? for the
Yes.
perimenopause and menopause. I don't care. It's like, we have to stop caring about other people's opinions. We have to stop caring about being
Yes.
perfect. We have to stop caring what people think. We just don't have the energy. Just like live your life.
You said it best
Feel
there, Brooke.
good.
It is actually more energy wasted to try
Yes.
to figure out what everybody else wants us
Oh,
from us in terms of our style. I have an event coming up that I'm going to in June, and it's a networking event. It's a chance to expand my business and meet potentially other partners or clients.
nice.
And I'm in a place where I myself am feeling challenged to root back into wearing something that feels
Yep.
aligned with me. And
Yes.
that is, I'm tempted to want to know what everybody else is wearing, or maybe making an assumption about what I think other people might be wearing to this, and then kind of following suit because I want to fit in. There is a
Yes.
real
Yes.
strong desire to want to fit in, right? I see it with my 13-year-old daughter when I go up to her middle school, and everyone's wearing the same thing, and we've learned fitting in feels comfortable, but that fitting in doesn't leave us as we get to be adults, and it feels scary to really let people see you in a more authentic way. And so I'm having to do the work right now is to reroute back into what would make me feel my most authentic, true self. And when I work with clients, we define 3 personal style words. So mine are bold, feminine, and classic. And so I'm thinking, what I'm sure it's in my closet. I don't even need to go get something new, but there is something there that's going to make me feel my best self, even if that doesn't look like what everyone else is wearing. That's
Mm,
where I'm saying the self leadership is so important, because it feels scary to kind of put your stake in the ground and say, I'm trusting this is what's going to make me feel my best when I get there. I'm going to trusting that this is going to bring out my best energy. And that then is going to help me connect and meet the right people that I know I need to meet. And if I
mhm.
abandon that and I say, I know everyone there is going to be wearing this kind of a dress, and even though it doesn't feel like me, I want to fit in. You see the difference. You can really show up in a very different version of yourself, but what we want is that more authentic version. It's only going to serve as it feels a little uncomfortable at first, and it
Mhm.
is scary. And that's why I love doing the work I do with my clients, is because I can be there with them as they make that transformation. When they say, I've never tried this silhouette on before, I don't know how I feel about that, I don't know how I feel about showing up in color. And I say, you've got to trust yourself. And when they do, and they get there and people are like, you look great, because you can't deny that magnetism that happens when you really do lean it, because it just comes out.
Exactly. It's so true. It's like you're going in heart open. You're going in open versus contracted when you're worrying about what everyone else is doing.
Yes.
And I love that you're naming, even though we know these things and we've been knee deep in this work, we still fall into those old traps of wanting to fit in because we're human. That's what it
100%.
means to be human. It doesn't mean that we haven't, developed. It's we're human. So you have the awareness now to see when you're on the slippery slope into judgment land and abandoning your self land, and you use your skills and your teachings to show up and
Exactly.
shine. And I just think it's important, like this conversation feels really important right now, because I feel like women now more than ever need to remember their magic and their power,
Hmm.
and need to show up on unapologetically embodying it, so we can co-create a world that we want ourselves and our children and our grandchildren to live in. And we cannot do
100%.
that when we're playing small and we're trying to fit in. We're trying to see, we're not wanting to make anyone else uncomfortable. Being bold, being you, being true, that's what the world needs right now. And your style is a
Yes.
beautiful place to start. I love this conversation that we've had today. I love the depth that you go to in your work. That feels really important to me. And what's one
Hmm.
final thing that you would love to share with the beautiful woman who is maybe like, damn, like this is resonating with me?
The thing I will say is, if you trust your gut, it will lead you in the right direction. And this is when I'm doing a styling or a try on session with my clients after we've done some shopping. Before I give my advice about how I think that looks on her, because I want to give them guidelines, and we're learning, and that's valuable feedback. But the first thing I say is, how do you feel in it? And their gut is almost always right. And so this is where we've learned that maybe our gut isn't right, especially when it comes to style, because I think sometimes we feel like, oh, I don't have the skills. I'm not sure what I'm doing. But if something gives you that feeling, you should trust it. And so the next time you're getting dressed for something big, or even just tomorrow, when you're getting dressed for your day, and if you're not feeling something, trust that. Go to something that gives you that little bit of an extra skip in your step. But you have the knowledge inside you. You just need to start trusting it.
Mic drop. That's it. That's it. Let your intuition guide you. Ellie, thank you so much for bringing your magic to the show. Where can the beautiful listeners find you, connect with you, learn about your service, all the things?
I'm most active on Instagram at style.decoded. And you can also find me on LinkedIn if you guys are LinkedIn fans. And I have a little bit of a treat for you guys if you should want to dive into some of this deeper work that I mentioned today. So, the part where I was talking about following all these rules and these beliefs that we've been given over the years, it's a little bit of a worksheet that will allow you to dig deeper into maybe what your rules and beliefs are, and then to rewrite a new mantra for yourself. So it's called the Style Mindset Reset. And you'll have the link that will be in the show notes, I'm sure. So you can get it
Yes.
there.
Oh, that sounds like such a fun place to start. Go and grab that, you beautiful listeners. Ellie, thank you so much. And to the listener, thank you for being here. Take care of yourselves and therefore each other, and go out there and shine, queen. Do not hold back. Love you guys so much. Bye for now. Hey boo, if you made it this far, I know you're serious about healing, revealing, and rising, living a life unperfected. Just by showing up, you're telling the universe, I matter, I'm ready. So don't be surprised if things start shifting in your favor. If this episode moved you, do me a favor, rate and review the podcast on Apple or Spotify. It helps us reach more high-achieving, high-performing women who are ready to stop pretending and start living. And if something really landed, DM me on Instagram at BrookeJeanUnperfected or share a clip and tag me. I want to see what's moving through you. And hey, don't forget, you can watch this episode on YouTube and join my brand new VidMe membership for exclusive content, coaching, and community for only $35 a month. We're not just talking about rising, we're doing it together.